one of the reasons why I'm excited to have you on our show today is I wanted to talk about how the General Sessions Civil Court can overlap with your court. As you know, my courtroom, we hear a lot of landlord-tenant cases. And in the eviction matters that we hear, I have a lot of people saying, well, Your Honor, this person is only trying to evict me because I filed something with the code office. So how do our courts overlap, or do they overlap?
They overlap somewhat. And so in order to bring a case in my courtroom, it's brought by the departments and they're different. So I have about 14 separate dockets, and a lot of it deals with different ordinances in the city of Memphis, city code enforcement, county code enforcement. So if you got a code enforcement issue living in an apartment complex with code violation, you are expected to call code enforcement using 311. That's the city system to contact code enforcement. And then code enforcement go out to the apartment and then issue a citation. I have to first get a notice to correct, and if they don't correct it within a reasonable period of time, say if there's no heat or something, they don't correct it in a reasonable period of time, then that's cited into my courtroom. So once they come into my courtroom, we're dealing with the landlord, and the landlord says, yeah, well, we have some code violations, but they haven't paid rent in 6 months. You see? So I don't deal with, as you know, eviction proceedings at all, even though I should tell you people have tried. I said, no. That happens in General Sessions Civil. And so when they come to my courtroom and that's the issue, I do not prevent them, the landlord, from filing an eviction proceeding. And particularly if there are situations where they haven't paid rent, I let the General Sessions Civil Court deal with that issue. My concern is putting heat. And whether that tenant is there or another tenant is there, you have to restore heat, or no one is going to live in that apartment complex.
Yeah, and we hear a lot of those cases. Like I said, I hear about 1,200 cases a month, and I would say at least a third of that docket is dealing with landlord-tenant issues. And that is one of the reasons that people say that they withheld rent. They say, well, the heat is not working, or there was flooding in the apartment. So they're trying to say the reason why they're not paying their rent is because it's uninhabitable. But if they stay, they said, well, the very definition of uninhabitable means that you can't stay there.
That's right.
So the law is kind of, if you stay, you pay. So that's when I tell them they have to go over to environmental court. Yes. They want to talk about housing.
Absolutely. And there have been some efforts to try to get the courts to work together instead of the landlord just evicting the tenant, correct the repairs, fix the condition, and then maybe some assistance can be provided over in civil court. Because as you know, Division 14 Environmental Court is housed over in criminal court. But I hear 96% of my cases are civil. So I'm over there, it's a lone wolf among the criminal courts, but I do have some criminal court cases. So there's a slight overlap when it comes to landlord-tenant type issues, and I'd like it better when I'm not hearing the landlord-tenant case. I'm just hearing the ordinance violation, and allow the judges over in General Sessions Civil yourself hear all those cases.
And this is Inside General Sessions Civil Court. We would love for you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.